Olá, tudo bem? Para vocês que comemoram, Feliz Páscoa! Eu espero que hoje é um dia bom, apesar das dificuldades causadas pela essa crise de coronavírus. No meu programa de hoje eu vou mostrar 2 reportagens. A primeira é sobre por que Bernie Sanders largou sua candidatura. Ele representou a esperança de muita gente, principalmente aqui no Brasil, pois desde o início ele era o político estadunidense mais famoso que lutou a favor de Lula livre. Ele mandou várias cartas para a embaixada brasileira em Washington, assinou várias abaixo-assinadas, exigindo a libertação imediata de Lula. Ele também manifestou contra o golpe em 2016. Ele basicamente era o único candidato que sabia sobre a conjuntura política do Brasil. É triste que ele largou a candidatura e tem várias teorias por que ele fez. Só que no reportagem que vou mostrar para vocês hoje, você vai ver uma coisa que eu já expliquei no programa Bom Dia 247 na sexta-feira com Leonardo Ative. Tem várias pessoas dizendo o Deep State, o Estado Profundo obrigou Bernie a largar a candidatura, ou pessoas inventando teoria de conspiração, mas como eu falei na sexta-feira passada, era claro para mim que quando ele vi o desastre de eleição primária que aconteceu no Wisconsin semana passada, ele começou a ficar pensando assim, será que eu quero ser responsável para mortes de pessoas por causa do coronavírus? Pois o governador do Wisconsin, do Partido Democrata, tentou adiar as eleições. Só que o Corte Suprema do Wisconsin, que é dominado pelo Partido Republicano, mandou ir na frente. E o aparato central do Partido Democrata, liderado pelo Joe Biden, apoiou. Então, milhares de cidadãos do Wisconsin que queriam votar eram obrigados a aguardar, mantendo 2 metros de distância de todo mundo na fila, na chuva, no frio, e muitas pessoas que nem quis sair de casa tinham seu direito negado. Quando Sanders viu isso, ele falou assim, a chance de eu ganhar essa eleição já é baixa, porque já foi quase todo montado, né? Desde a super terça-feira. Então, eu não quero mais pôr a população de risco. E Sanders decidiu dedicar as energias dele agora lutando contra a coronavírus e lutando para o direito de renda básica universal dos cidadãos. A coisa interessante para mim dessa reportagem também é uma entrevista com o vice-governador do estado do Wisconsin, que é um político da esquerda. É um estado muito querido. Eles têm algumas tradições interessantes, inclusive o único time do futebol americano, o Green Bay Packers, que é sediado numa cidade pequena, Green Bay, população de 60 mil. É um time esportivo, e é o único time esportivo nos Estados Unidos que é socialista, pois cada cidadão desse município é dono parcial do time. Então, eles lotam um estádio que tem capacidade para 60 mil torcedores, em uma cidade que tem uma população de 60 mil. E acho o estado do Wisconsin querido, então é importante para nós ver que o estado do Wisconsin foi tomado pela esquerda, porque por muitos anos os irmãos Koch financiou um governador horrível chamado Scott Walker. Era quase um golpe no nível estadual. Ele desmonta todo o direito do sindicalismo, ele desmonta os direitos de trabalho, o direito humano todo, e agora a esquerda está, pouco aos poucos, reconstruindo direitos no estado. Por causa disso, é importante ouvir o ponto de vista do vice-governador. Ele dá alguns palpites sobre como a esquerda pode reorganizar agora e pressionar a campanha do Biden para incluir elementos da pauta dos progressistas na sua candidatura para presidente. Senão ele não ganha. A segunda reportagem que eu vou mostrar é do meu amigo Michael Fox, que é o correspondente para The Real News aqui no Brasil, aqui na América do Sul. Ele estava em Caracas e ele fez uma reportagem sobre como funcionam as comunas, que é uma ferramenta importante de democracia local no Venezuela. De tanto mentira na mídia sobre como Venezuela não é um país democrata, se você compara o que ele está fazendo em Venezuela no segundo reportagem do programa de hoje, com a farsa que foi a eleição primária no estado do Wisconsin, nos Estados Unidos, você vai pensar assim, qual país realmente é o mais democrata? Para mim é óbvio que Venezuela é mais democrata do que os Estados Unidos, mas eu deixo você tirar sua própria conclusão. Uma boa Páscoa, uma boa tarde Para todos e todas de vocês, se cuida.
But as I see the crisis gripping the nation, exacerbated by a president unwilling or unable to provide any kind of credible leadership, and the work that needs to be done to protect people in this most desperate hour, I cannot, in good conscience, continue to mount a campaign that cannot win and which would interfere with the important work required of all of us in this difficult hour.
Welcome to The Real News. I'm Jessel Noor. In breaking news, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders announced he's dropping out of the presidential race. This news comes just one day after, despite a last-minute court battle and a stay-at-home order, thousands of Wisconsin voters braved the coronavirus outbreak to wait 6 feet apart in lines for hours and cast ballots in the state's presidential, primary, and local elections.
The election should have been postponed, no doubt.
Some Wisconsinites who had requested absentee ballots said they'd never received them, forcing them to choose between risking to cast a ballot in person or foregoing their right to vote. Well, our next guest called the Wisconsin election a shit show and said, in good faith, I cannot tell people to go out there and vote. And he's the state's lieutenant governor. We're joined again by Mandela Barnes. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, yeah, thanks a lot for having me, and it's really good to see you again.
So talk about what happened yesterday. All the public health officials, national experts, international experts have been saying that these types of gatherings are extremely dangerous, especially to vulnerable populations. Yet the vote went on.
Yeah, it was especially dangerous and irresponsible for Republican leaders in the legislature to pursue legal action to keep this election date in place, yesterday's election date. It's unfortunate that we got to that place. And when I woke up, the first thing I saw was so many people waiting in lines wrapped around the block. And, I feel like they had a frustration, and I shared that frustration, which is why, my first observation is what it was. People were going to vote. You wait hours in line at Six Flags, not at the polls. That in itself is a form of voter disenfranchisement because folks have things to do. People have lives to live. And also, there were some weather conditions, too, that made it difficult for a lot of folks to stand outside. Literally, people weathering a storm to cast a ballot, people putting their health and their safety at risk. It was a it was an awful situation that didn't have to take place at all, given the fact that the governor tried to delay this election, which was the responsible thing to do, which was very necessary. And you had people who requested absentee ballots who didn't receive those ballots. A lot of those folks, I can think of examples from people that replied to me on Twitter that talked about having a person at home, a spouse or a partner with a compromised immune system. And if they were to go out to vote, they would be putting their partner, their spouse, the person they live with at risk because they wanted to exercise their constitutional right, because they want to exercise their civic duty. And what having the election yesterday did was create chaos that I personally haven't seen before, but a level of chaos that no person should be subject to.
So Wisconsin's, which you alluded to, Wisconsin's Democratic Governor Tony Evers ordered the election postponed until June, but he waited till Monday to do that. And the state Supreme Court reversed his order in a ruling late on Monday after Republican leaders challenged Evers' decision. So talk about who makes up that court. And, some have said that Evers, could have acted sooner, but he said he didn't have the authority to do so. He previously said that. What's your response to that? Yeah,
and having previously said that, you see what happened when he did issue the order. Whether the order was issued a week earlier or a month earlier, we would have seen a similar, if not the same, outcome. And the governor tried to work with the legislature in good faith. As working in shared government, that should be the case. Prioritizing the health and safety of people. Once there was no response from the legislature, there's been no response from the legislature in terms of overall COVID-19 response, let alone how to shape democracy in this moment. And having several failed attempts, the governor decided in the 11th hour, that he would take executive action to delay the election. And as we see, our courts are controlled by Republicans. Many would say that it is conservative control, given the fact that it is technically nonpartisan, but that is only a technicality. These are very much Republicans that control our courts here in the state of Wisconsin, and we have Republicans who control our courts, and at the highest court, the U.S. Supreme Court as well. And they acted right along Republican state legislators. They abetted their attempt to subvert democracy.
And so, obviously, Scott Walker's reign in Wisconsin had a transforming effect for workers, for just the functioning of government and the courts. And he was backed by, Americans for Prosperity and other groups funded by the Koch brothers that, have proven time and time again to put profits over anything else. And, they're willing to spend unlimited money to demolish anything that sort of stands in their pursuit of money. What impact does that have specifically on Wisconsin today, specifically this court decision?
It's had a tremendous impact. When you have these Supreme Court justices in the state who are up for election, and you have to bring it back to the money. You just mentioned the influence that big money has played in the state of Wisconsin. It's why the rights of working people have been rolled back. When Wisconsin was once seen as a leader in offering protections to working people, and also offering a certain quality of life for individuals in all corners of the state. And we see that that's not the case anymore. And with the former governor, you look at even judicial appointments. And I mentioned this last night on the news. As progressives, it's important for us to pay more attention to the courts. And that doesn't mean stop paying attention to other things, but we need to pay as much attention to the courts because we consistently see rights being threatened or just outright being rolled back. Donald Trump cares about the courts. The amount, the percentage of judicial vacancies that Donald Trump has filled, he's gotten the Supreme Court justices. And, that is, largely in part because, the judicial system has not been at the forefront of our thinking. And I get it. It's different because they're not, issuing the press releases. They're not giving press conferences. So you don't necessarily see them. They're not in the public. But if we continue to ignore the judiciary, we're going to be in a world of hurt for generations to come.
So Bernie Sanders, he's just dropped out of the presidential race today. He was down 300 delegates. He acknowledged that he had a really slim chance to victory. And the clip that we played at the top of the segment, you hear him say, he can't in good conscience continue this campaign. And he actually did not do a get out the vote effort on election day. He said it's outrageous that Republican legislative leaders and the conservative majority on the Supreme Court in Wisconsin are willing to risk the health and safety of many thousands of Wisconsin voters tomorrow for their political gain. Let's be clear, holding this election amid the coronavirus outbreak is dangerous, disregards the guidance of public health experts, and may very well prove deadly. Which was a bold stance for a candidate to take, in this crucial election. Some had called Wisconsin do or die for Sanders. As a progressive elected official, what are your thoughts on Sanders dropping out now? He won Wisconsin handily in 2016, and it was a state that Trump ended up narrowly winning as part of his electoral, victory, to get to the White House. The importance of Wisconsin.
Yeah, so I think that the debate was much better having Bernie Sanders being a part of it in 2016 and this year. I was proud to have voted for Bernie in 2016. I was very excited when he got into the race this year. And after Super Tuesday, I guess the writing was kind of on the wall. However, the fact is, you look at the progressive issues that candidates all across the country are taking on, the things that people are talking about and things that people aren't afraid to talk about anymore. I think that we owe a huge debt of gratitude to Bernie Sanders and his bold thinking, laying out a vision for the United States of America that many people weren't comfortable embracing at one point or weren't comfortable talking about. He opened the door to so many new conversations, debates that have to be had. So, I'm forever appreciative to Bernie Sanders for running and for talking about this stuff, running for the highest office. It's not like he was running for, a village trustee and bringing up these ideas. He ran for president on, talking about big, bold ideas. 2016 is a little bit closer. I mean, the fact that he won states in 2016, against someone with much more name recognition, someone who's been in the public eye for far longer. The fact that he won any state shows that people in this country are ready for change. And given the way that the 2016 general election played out, it shows that people wanted something different and people wanted something more. I wish he could have gotten more traction this year, but that's not the case. However, the ideas live on, and I think that beyond the 2020 cycle, I think that in 24 and 28 and beyond, folks are going to say, he told us so, or I'm sure glad we went ahead with that idea.
And finally, what is it going to take for Democrats to win states like Wisconsin, which are going to be crucial if they're going to win an electoral victory? We know that, Hillary Clinton won 3 million more popular votes, but unless you win that electoral college, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, it has to be a vision. We can't just, running against Donald Trump is not going to get it done in November. Saying that you're not him or vaguely saying you're going to do things differently. That's not the answer. That's not the recipe. That was the case in 2010, 2012 for the recall, in 2014 with the former governor. A lot of those campaigns were explicitly anti-Scott Walker, and they got us nowhere. But 2 years ago, there was a vision that we led with. We talked about the need to address the concerns of working people in the state of Wisconsin, the need to address education, the need to prioritize our environment. And ultimately, that's what got us over the hump. And it's going to have to be the same way in November.
All right. Mandela Barnes, Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And thank you for joining us at the Real News Network.
High on the edge of the barrios of Western Caracas, up on the hillside of the Guaraira Hipano mountain, members of this local commune are clearing land to begin planting corn. Once it's ready to harvest, they want to grind the corn into flour for arepas. That's a staple in the Venezuelan diet. But because of inflation and financial crisis, most Venezuelans have had to do without corn flour and arepas. It's just too expensive.
Today, we are beginning our work for our plan for communal planting, a plan that we developed to strengthen our local productions and to help us achieve self-sustainability. It's also a way to fight against the U.S. blockade and defend what is ours, and produce the food that we need, which we believe is vital for any commune and for our country.
Jesus is a member of the Altos de Lidici commune, which is composed of roughly 7 communal councils and 2,000 residents in the Caracas barrio of La Pastora. There are a few signs here that distinguish this commune from any other stretch of barrio in Western Caracas, but the residents know the commune is important. Spokespeople meet weekly or bi-weekly. It's participatory and direct democracy at work. The government of Hugo Chavez began to encourage communities to organize communal councils in 2006 as a means of empowering residents to address the local concerns in their neighborhoods. Communes began to be formed a few years later as larger territorial groupings of numerous communal councils. It's all meant to complement the country's representative democracy. Down the hill, members of the commune's local sports committee are hard at work.
We didn't
have room for a court in the neighborhood, but we are making one in the street and painting it to have our communal basketball tournament.
The community is out. Everyone is focused on the quality of the court and for the good of our community and the kids. And everyone from the smallest to the oldest children are helping out with the painting.
Down the street, members of the commune's health working group are discussing their self-managed pharmacy.
We cover the need with medicine that we receive from donations from other countries, which we welcome with an open heart. because it's the only way to fight the crisis and cover the medical needs in our community.
They meet in a neighborhood home or in one of the community's barrio dentro health clinics where they coordinate with the local community doctor. This is just one commune in one of Caracas's poor barrios that has been organizing from below. While the news is obsessed with Maduro and Guaidó, it completely ignores the grassroots organizing at the heart of the Bolivarian process that continues to happen around the clock in communes across the country.
There are approximately 2,000 communes in Venezuela. They are very important because they are the government of the residents of the locale. It's the people, the neighbors, governing over things that are very concrete, like water, transportation, services, health, education, and they are the residents of the locale, deciding their destiny in citizen assemblies.
Across town in the barrio of Antímeno, a local commune has created a project to begin a transportation service to help residents get to their homes high up in the barrio. With the U.S. blockade, financial crisis, and hyperinflation, transportation costs have risen as replacement car parts have grown scarce and expensive.
Before we didn't have public transportation up here, but because of the blockade, many of the cars are broken, and that's the situation we are trying to resolve.
The government has found some funds, and it's providing the community with vehicles to run their neighborhood transportation service at discounted rates. If it works, it'll be a win-win. Community members get much-needed transportation, the funds collected go to their neighbors who are running the service, they have 1 year down before they have to start paying off the vehicles. They're meeting to finalize the details. Like this, most communes have a tight relationship with the government. They receive the government-issued subsidized boxes of food known as clap and distribute them to the community. The boxes are a lifeline for many poor Venezuelan families amid hyperinflation and out-of-control food prices. The communes are also a link between the social missions such as Barrio Dentro and the local community. But they're not free from criticism.
The state has a ton of problems. We are not going to pretend that they don't exist. We are very self-critical of the revolution because we want the revolution to be real. But we also know that there are complex realities, like the evil role of the United States in deepening our crisis.
Some of the communes are also building connections, supporting each other's work, and creating networks of communes. The rural El Maizal commune in Lara State provided the local produce to be sold here through this cooperative in San Agustin at low cost.
The people in these territories have seen the importance of resolving their problems together. Realizing that we have the answers to our own problems has been the key to consolidating the communes and developing and growing new ones.
Michael Fox, The Real News, Caracas, Venezuela.